Okay. Welcome, everybody. Today we have some very special guests,
Thank you.
Maggie
Thank you.
and Lisa for the first time. We
Hi.
Hey,
Lisa.
we met Lisa
Thank
at a conference in Singapore last week. We've all become instant friends, and joining us again is Vincent. Vincent, welcome. How's your internet there in Thailand today?
Today is not too good, but let's give it a shot. Let's
I think
give
we
it a
can
shot.
do it. Okay, now my understanding is the two of you are both proponents of Elliott waves. So if you could maybe give us a super quick introduction to what Elliott waves are, and then we could maybe compare your thoughts and your styles and where price is heading. I suspect there might be some differences, so should make for some interesting content.
Okay. You know that Lisa is really an experienced Elliott wave trader and analyst. She's got double the time that I have in the market. Lisa's had 20 years doing this. I've only had 10. However, Elliott wave is a complex system of rules and guidelines that tell us about market behavior, about the underlying driver of the markets. And if I can quickly do a screen share, I can just show you the basic principle of it. And this is going to be the kicker, right? If I stay on, then my connection is good. Right here, I'm sharing with you a diagram taken from the Elliott wave principle textbook. And what it's showing us is the structure that markets take, not some markets, not markets these days, but all markets during all times in history. This has always been the pattern that you get basically 5 waves. If you look at the number 1 there, that's wave number 1, wave number 2, wave number 3, 4, and to a 5. Now, of course, if you've got 5 waves complete, you label that as 1, and then the pattern starts again at a larger degree, at a bigger fractal sort of pattern. And as you can see with this little wave 1 here, it retraces in 3 waves, A, B, C, down to 2. What I am proposing, and I'm going to leave that on while I just prepare this chart. I'm preparing another chart that can show us the so this is going to be interesting because I'm showing something that I don't like to share publicly, but anyway, most people will not know. Most people will not know what it is that I'm showing and showing. Just a second. This is my sort of thing that I share with subscribers. I've just narrowed it down to, I'm going to go to stop that share, and I'm going to initiate a new share, and then Lisa's analysis and my own will start overlapping. We can then discuss that. So what I'm wanting to show here is my browser. And if we look at the Bitcoin price since inception in 2011, all right, that's 2010 really, GOX, we see that there is, after a bit of correction up and down, it sort of looks like an A, B, C, D, E, an expanding triangle, and then Bitcoin launches into its first wave of advance. Right.
Yeah, can I just jump in with that? So when a coin is launched, any coin is launched, it always goes into a corrective pattern. So whether that's an ABC or an ABCDE, that's how it finds its feet. So it's always, look at any chart, it's
fantastic. So you've observed this before, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's valuable information. Right, because I was always wondering what is going on in here, but I was like, well, strictly, we've got to start counting from here. Yeah. And then you find that it's got 5 waves of advance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it moves like a commodity chart in terms of that 5th wave being really extended and really powerful. And then if we take this larger pattern, now if we say this is the first wave of advance, there's 2 of decline, 3 of advance, 4 of decline, and a 5th wave to the top. Now, remembering that we said that once you reach a wave 5 to the upside, you put another label up there, 1, and then you want to see 3 equivalent waves of decline, right? And if I measure it out according to the length of this correction, the length of that correction, and then we take the length that a correction of all of this to the top in 2017, the length of correction should be 1.618 of all of the preceding price history. It brings us to May of 2021, so approximately where my cursor is over here. That is where I expect to see a bottom. Now, me and Lisa don't agree about that. I'm saying that potentially we're in a multi-year triangle and that we've only gone up in wave B now. It might go a little bit higher. Then we're coming right back down, probably towards 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And we'll do this kind of up and down, a very large triangle over a very extended period of time, perhaps 3 years, before we find the bottom from where the next super rally of Bitcoin will happen. And that rally will be really powerful because it'll be a third wave of advance in the largest degree. Okay, so that's my sort of assessment of what's happening in the chart. Lisa's got a different view though, because she did a different count. She did a different count for me. Tell us about that, Lisa.
I did do a different count. So let me screen share and get my chart up. So I'm also on the liquid index here. So because just due to the fact it does have the most data. So I often get asked this question. So many, like Bitfinex only starts sort of halfway through. So if we go to the liquid index, we get everything from the start, from Mt. Gox, from when we started trading. So I have this as the 5th wave. So coming down for our corrective pattern, I see that our corrective pattern at this point for the 20,000 rise is completed. We have a complex corrective pattern, so with a WXYXZ, which gives us 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So, and going back through lower time frames and everything, it's a clear count. So we can clearly say that that pattern is complete and we are now going into an impulse. So if this is an impulse, we are looking at a $50,000 rise. So possibly by sort of May, by the halvening. Halvening's May 19, I believe, and we've got this huge trading zone within this period. So I think the FOMO factor is going to sort of really kick in over the next sort of 6 months, where, you know, FOMO is this amazing thing that happened, you know, in this rise up here, where the news and media get hold of this and it's like Bitcoin's done $2,000 in a day. It's like we're printing money. And, you know, that's exactly what we're doing. And it's surprising that so many people during this period lost so much money as well. So you hear the stories and there were so many people that were, it's not going any higher, I'm shorting the market, and they were just constantly losing money. So, you know, we have, and then we have all the stories about the people that didn't sell at this point and they're sort of back to ground zero where they're, you know, they're no better off. Or they're in the red because they bought higher and, you know, they maybe bought at 15K and we're now at sort of 10, 11. So, you know, that's the thing. And it's like, so if this is finished, this correction, we are currently in a 4th wave of our first impulse, which will take us to about 16,000, 17,000, coming down for a correction to this long-term support again. And also it's in line with our parabola that we're in. So the parabola is drawn from the decline. It comes around and moves as we go higher. So there's a scientific way to draw a parabola where we take it from the decline and the angle of the rise is derived from that. So then we come in, we've come down for our second wave, and we're going up for our third wave, which will take us to 30,000. We'll then have probably another triangle at some point and a steep correction. The triangle will sort of fall within that, parabolic range, and then taking us up to 50,000, which is very, very possible with the FOMO factor. So, yeah.
Excellent. Vincent,
Fantastic, fantastic. I like it. It conforms to all the rules of Elliott Wave. The guidelines are there. Her count is perfect. I would love to see this because it means that we haven't got the pain of my 3 years of sideways price action. I've got issues and it's feelings. It's not strictly technical. Why I think it should go sideways to sort of wash out the market. Sort of Tyler Jenks's idea that there should be a washout and a eventual depression where people say Bitcoin is dead and so on, and then we get the rise. But however, what you've drawn there is just fantastic. If that is truly a WXYXZ correction, then it does mean it's over and we are now advanced. Can I raise, for the sake of interest, and many viewers are going to be watching a lot of the analysis online where people are talking about this is a descending triangle, so it's going to break to the downside. And as Elliotticians, we know that that's not true. I mean, the slant of the triangle, the slant doesn't indicate it's the direction of breakout. Can I quickly pull up a screen share and then
let me stop sharing here.
And then just as a talking point, I just, now that it's available, let me do that. I want to bring up this and show this, which is, I've just drawn in the obvious what I've thought of as triangles, and we actually disagree about these counts, but it's okay. They're alternatives. What I
like what you've got here with this triangle, with the last triangle, and you've got it. So for me, if a triangle enters up, so we can see that this is entering up, and you've got your B and it's coming down, and you've got your E and then it's exiting up. So if a triangle enters up, it leaves up. So 90% of the time.
Yeah, correct. Exactly, because as Ralph Elliott said, and as Proctor makes the case in Elliott Wave Principle, a triangle is always a continuation pattern. Now, this level here at approximately, I think it's approximately 9,000. I've got one sort of barrier drawn there, and then there is another barrier that's slanting down, where I'm saying that wave E might end really low. Now,
that's definitely
you're
possible.
saying that, and this is kind of now the sort of the break that people are saying, oh, this is a triangle, a descending triangle, so it's going to break to the downside. That old bugbear. What is your response to that? Why can't that happen? Why do you think it can't happen?
It can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but for me right now, none of these supports are broken. So, until we do break that support on your pink E, and that sort of 9,100, 9,300, I think that range is, then it's going to hold at that point and continue up. So, if we get a clear break in that and we're heading sort of into the 8s, then at that point I'll reassess and go, okay, this is a descending triangle, and we're going down first before we go up. So
that's right.
There is these rules that, until supports are broken for me, then it's X, and, it's not that yet.
It's not that yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And thanks for the answer, because you were also mentioning that there is some institutional.
Yeah, so there's institutional money sitting at that level. So, and I've been told from a couple of firms and from a couple of whales that I know that this region is strongly supported, and they do not want it to break down below that due to the fact that if it does break down below that, it's harder to move it higher. So there's more downward pressure.
That's right.
Yeah. So you want to keep the momentum going for the higher ranges. So if these whales and these, institutional buyers want, 14,000, 20,000 to happen in the next couple of months, they need to support these ranges.
Right. I want to ask you about something else, and you mentioned that as well. You see the pink trend line and the purple trend line over there. I've replicated them over just directly below in the chart as an alternative count. And what I'm trying to achieve is to say that it's a leading diagonal to the downside. From the 14,000 top, we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point E basically, which would make sense. Do you think that makes sense that this can happen?
Yeah, it could definitely happen. Yeah.
Because then the caveat is then that we've got to retrace most of that diagonal back towards 12,000 or whatever that label 2 is going to be at.
Yeah.
Before we get the strong decline, and this is going to mess with so many people's trades and heads. If it does that. I really hope that this isn't the case. I hope that the most obvious scenario that this is a triangle that we entered and it's going to continue to the upside. I've got a target of about 15,000. You mentioned 14,000. Is that based on a fig?
I've kind of got like a 14,800 to a 16,000 in that range, depending on how much FOMO sort of kicks in. So, yeah.
Okay. I think our ideas really overlap here, and that's what Elliott Wave does, right? It gives you some alternatives, and you got to see what the market actually does, and then you trade that, right? Because at this point we haven't got a direction, so we don't do anything, right?
Yeah. So at this point, I'm trading the subwaves. So it's still possible to trade subwaves, but it's not giving you. You can't do a longer swing trade because we don't have an overall direction as yet.
Right. The moving averages, by the way, that you see in this chart, these are weekly moving averages. I don't know if you use moving averages, but the weekly moving averages are aligned for advance.
They are, yeah. So they've both crossed. I don't know. I use the 100 and the 200 moving averages. I'm not sure what you use, but they've crossed in a bullish motion. And there's many ways of trading, as we know. So a lot of people do trade the moving averages. So at around the 5,000 sort of mark, going by your moving averages, we would have had a buy. We'd still be in that, and we'd still be long. So it's a long-term sort of swing trade.
Yeah. And by all indications, it remains to the upside for now. There's no reason that anybody should go short now. I don't see it. They'd be lucky if it turns into a short, profitable trade, I think.
Yeah. So if you're able to trade, the Elliott waves and the Fibonacci and all of that, then you could have gone short at the 14,000 and you would have been okay, and you would have got a couple of thousand out of that short. But if you're trading, the long-term sort of swing trade, you'd still be long. The trend has not changed.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
So Maggie, we've added a lot.
Yeah, obviously. So we've got the extra. I think is a very good idea.
It is indeed.
Anything.
Questions.
I'm just glad that we were able to bring the Lisa and Vincent show to the Hardforking.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to see the ideas of other traders and to discuss that with them.
No, it is nice for us to just sit back and listen to you two. We've had a fascinating afternoon, actually, obviously on this call, but also listening to a very senior guy who runs an OTC desk here in Asia. We got some fairly good information, didn't we?
Information. It's very interesting. You speaking about the institutional investors getting in space, Lisa, because that kind of backs up what he was saying as well. So that's definitely happening. Now, the thing with the traders, people who are trading on technicals, etc., it's important they know these things too, because that can throw a spanner in the works, in my opinion. I don't know too much about this, but I would say that they can move the market. So all your technicals go out the window, potentially, if you're not keeping an eye on things like that. Am I correct?
I don't think the technicals go out the window. It's, there's validation points and there's pivot points in Elliott waves. So there's points, Venzen was just showing us two directions that this chart can go. So we have what is called a technical pivot, and that gives us a point in Elliott wave where it could go up or it could go down. So, we have many of the technical pivots along the way, and this just decides our direction.
You're also able to factor in a lot of the analytics from the OTC market to a certain degree as well. Is that right?
Yeah, to a certain extent. So that is factored into my super duper support zone. And the reason I chose this extended corrective pattern. So, if being a fourth wave, for me, that's always an extended sort of triangular pattern. So, and being as there's such indecision in the market, it makes perfect sense to have this fourth wave draw out for as long as possible, to, for half the market to be sitting there and going, this is going to continue down because it's not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden it takes off. So, for me, and that's the whole reason I call it I'm going to swear again, the mindfuck pattern, because that's what it does. It's like this super extended pattern. It really messes with the minds of traders, and they're going, well, this is going down because it's not breaking support resistances. It's, continuing to move sideways. So,
yeah, and then by that same kind of psychology, the moment when most people lose interest is suddenly the moment when the market moves. When most people have lost interest, when they're no longer looking, it moves, and that's how the problem is generated, right? They suddenly feel like, I've got to get in. And as a trader, it's really tough to navigate those moments because your impulse, your emotion is to trade, right? And then you've got to look at your technicals and say, what reason have I got? What reason is there to get in? And that's where your trading method is so important. Because if you just jump, you may be jumping into one of those things where you get stopped out purely because you jumped too early. You felt the panic. Further to Maggie's point before, do the technicals go out the window? I agree with Lisa that somehow the technicals never go out the window. Let me put it this way. If you do Elliott wave analysis, you're always looking at ratios. There's always a ratio of something to something else. And no matter what happens, it could be the biggest disaster. It could be the best news in the world for Bitcoin. It could be some massive manipulation or failure somewhere. It still maintains ratio and Fibonacci ratio. That is the wonderful aspect about this. Yeah. So there is never a point where you say, oh, well, I can't trust this analysis method because something else is going to break it. No, even the manipulator's psychology is governed by this underlying driver of the market.
Okay, thank you.
Very interesting. Have we been lucky today? We've got all this inside knowledge. We know Lisa knows all the whales. We know Venzen's very in touch with the universe. Yeah, we've had our OTC guy today. Where could people get so much information like this, Maggie?
Had a full moon, so
it's all coming together, right? After full moon.
We've been very lucky speaking to you guys and having this other OTC guy that came on earlier. So.
Maggie, your sound is a little bit down. Weren't you closer to the mic?
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So tell us, what have the two of you got coming up in the next month or two? Vincent, I know you're at your Tone Vases thing in Bali, which I'm still angling to give an invite to. Tone, if you're watching, what's it called again?
It's called is it called the Bali Summit?
Yeah.
Financial Summit Bali.
It's in the middle
that's
of
on the
October, 19th.
It's in the 19th of October until the 25th, and that's going to be great. He's got quite a few signups now. Bali
it seems to be gathering momentum, from what I can tell.
Bali is a great place, the home of Willy Woo, and I really look forward to that. Before that, I'm doing a workshop this weekend, starting this weekend. I'm doing one of my sort of training workshops for a group of 3 traders at a resort here in southern Thailand. On the beach, next to the mountain, sleep in the jungle, in a traditional Thai house. Yeah. And I just love those. The one-to-one training is so great, and the Bali Summit is going to be similar. If you can, I will mention to Tone that you should be there as a media person. I'll do it now.
I don't know if he wants I just want an invite.
Yeah, I will organize and wangle that for you as best I can. Okay. Yeah, so that's my future. Every month I do this workshop, and you're coming to the one in October after the summit, or November. You choose.
Look, there's actually a chance
you're welcome as well.
Thank you, Vincent. And Vincent, I was going to say, how do the viewers get hold of you? So
they can just go to my website, which is cryptocurrents.net. I'm sure
there'll be links below.
And we'll make sure there's links below that they can get hold of you. But they always like to know that they know they can get hold of you.
Yep.
Sure.
And you, Lisa, too. We're coming to you in just a second.
We're coming to LA with Lisa. She's going to put us in her movie. You tell everyone about this, Lisa, please.
Yes. Tell us about
Okay, so I've been writing a movie over the last few months, and it's coming to the end of the writing. So I've been working with a producer in LA, and she's amazing, and she's just been structuring the film. So it's based on real life stories from the industry, and it's just had Singapore added, which I'm really excited about. And
now you can put Sean Connery lookalike Vincent in the movie as well.
Yeah, so I've just had, I met the most amazing people in Singapore, and a lot of the names have needed to be changed. So I'm sure you'll know who they are from.
Yes, I suspect you know it. I suspect you know the high table of the crypto industry, Lisa.
So it's kind of exciting just to showcase crypto as a whole, and the ins and outs of what happens, and some of the scam stuff that happens, but some of the amazing stuff that happens, and some people's stories is kind of along the way sort of weaved into the film. And it's very up and down the film. You're going to feel the emotions as the characters feel the emotions, as they're winning, as they're losing, and that's kind of what crypto is. And I'm trying to bring a real emotion to crypto, so that it brings it to the general public, and they want to be part of it. And because we are such a small industry right now, I want to grow that and make it huge.
We're going to recognize some of the characters in there, are we?
Yeah, so if we're in crypto, we're going to know who some of the characters are. A lot of the characters. So you guys know one of the stories, so you're particularly going to know who that is. But
nice and secret. When do you think it will get launched, the film, then?
I'm hoping that it'll be filmed sort of early next year. The script's almost complete, and sort of releasing maybe March, April next year. It's called Coin Runners. It's I've been, talking a lot about it on my Twitter and sort of, as it sort of progresses and stuff that's been happening. So, a lot of people have followed my story along the last year, in particular with the ups and downs of, joining a group and finding out that guy was not all he was cracked up to be, and, just some of the stuff that he did along the way and how that affected me. So, yeah, and my journey sort of moving out of that.
You've got a pretty well-known brother in this space as well, I think, haven't you?
Yes, we haven't revealed that.
I do. So yeah, Dr. Craig Wright is my brother, so that's probably the reason I've been in crypto for so long. So because when people say, how long have you been in crypto? I'm kind of like since the beginning and trading since it was tradable, and they sort of look at me like, you're a girl.
We're not going to ask the million Bitcoin question, but...
Sounds like you are.
Yeah, go on, ask.
Go on.
Do you think you're brothers, Satoshi?
I do. And I can give you, when people ask me that, it's like, so I worked with him in a company called De Morgan, and we developed an online casino for the Australian market. So it was Lassiter's Casino. And we had an issue with the Australian government that we couldn't onboard cash. So Craig and some of the other developers developed electronic cash, which was a way of buying a token that we were able to use in the casino. So, and, that was kind of the predecessor for Bitcoin. So for me anyway, so seeing that whole journey of what happened.
Wow.
Yeah, I think anyone watching this might want to subscribe to Lisa's channel in a flash.
Where can they reach you, Lisa?
Where can you reach me? Everywhere. So just if you Google Lisa N. Edwards, everything comes up. Websites, Twitter, Satoshi Sisters. So Twitter is Lisa N. Edwards, and from there you can get a link to Satoshi Sisters. And you can enter the Discord. You can hang out in the free Discord. There's lots of free stuff in there. If you want to get our signals, it's $33 a month.
Thank you. And you can get Lisa's super duper.
Yeah, can I get a signal if he's going to move 1 million Bitcoin onto the market, please? Can I get a heads up on that one before everyone else?
He's already said on in his Slack group that May 19 at the halvening, he's going to only be in BSV. So, you need to take that as you will. So there's a lot of other coins that if you own Bitcoin from the very beginning, you own BSV, BCH, Bitcoin Gold, every fork there ever was. So, so at that stage, he's saying that he's only going to own BSV. So, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Interesting. My goodness, we got an amazing few months coming up, and obviously, I mean, this space just gets more and more amazing to me by the day. It's really, if I compare it even to a year ago, I've been writing for the last year that this would be the year of the institution, and they definitely seem like they're here en masse, eh? Yeah. We've had the OTC guy today. When I asked him, I'll post this video along with. It'll be next to this one so people can check it out. But I asked him the question, are institutions looking at the looming global debt catastrophe and Bitcoin as something to prop that up? His answer to that was absolutely yes. Yeah. And should that turn out to be the case, then we may have a Bitcoin on our hands that's worth multiple millions.
Yeah, well, just with that as well. So every 30 to 40 years, the economy has an overhaul. Yeah. So if you're looking at the global economy as a whole, so, the dollar, the US dollar has moved from being, a fully backed currency to now being backed by nothing. Yeah. So, you know, so it needs to sort of progress, and we need that sort of, you know, that honesty level again, as, you know, with what Bitcoin and blockchain can do.
Correct.
So, but, you know, if you go back through the history of the, you know, the monetary system, it does have a drastic overhaul every 30 to 40 years, and that's kind of now.
But we want it to be for the better of humanity this time, because every overhaul up to this point, it's always the man on the street that loses out. They have to pay for it. It seems. It
is. So, you know, if you're in Bitcoin, you're not going to be paying for it. You're going to be on the right end of it. Yeah.
So we have to educate people and let them make their decision, I guess, and do their own research.
Yeah.
Hey, just while we've got you both here, one last sort of question for today. What are your thoughts on altcoin and this altcoin season? I mean, is there such a thing? I mean, I know Bitcoin's up to over 90% dominance in many people's calculations. What are your thoughts around altcoins? Do you trade them? Do you think it's a complete load of rubbish? Is there such a thing as an altcoin season coming? Well, what are your thoughts there? Maybe Vincent, if you want to lead off, and then we'll hand it over to Lisa.
Okay.
You know what? The altcoins, I for so long just not cared about them. After I made my own altcoin in 2013, and I then had this thing that I mined 1 million. You know, I was like, well, what does it matter? What does it help? And the chart that was moving with unprecedented distance and emotion was Bitcoin, and I remained trading Bitcoin, and I decided strategically that this is the thing I'm going to trade. And I for so long didn't care about Bitcoin until at the beginning of this year. I didn't care about the altcoins. Then at the beginning of this year, one of my clients said to me, he made trades in various things, Tron and Ethereum and whatever in past years, and he had made such tremendous money. And he showed me his trades, and I was like, I better have a look at that. And then because my platform BitMEX offers some of these tokens, and I can trade them with Bitcoin collateral, you know, Bitcoin margin, I was like, well, let me try it, because I see Bitcoin is not doing anything and Ethereum is going up. So I've got buy signals in Ethereum, let me trade it. And it's now kind of reached the point where I trade Bitcoin to the downside. I trade short Bitcoin if I can. If I get a sell signal in the charts, I trade Bitcoin to the short side, and I long Ethereum, because Ethereum tends to, I don't know about the rest of the altcoins, but I'm in an Ethereum trade for the past 5 days, and it's just advancing, you know, whereas Bitcoin is going sideways. So I'm getting my trades, my fix there. I'm getting my profit from Ethereum. I don't hold any Ethereum. I don't hold any altcoins, but I certainly trade their charts. Yeah, if I get a signal.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lisa, what's your position on all of that?
So I, you know, there's 2,800 altcoins, and I don't think they're all going to survive long term. I think we're going to end up, you know, if you have a look at the global sort of market for cars, there's a limited amount of suppliers. So that's kind of how I see the cryptocurrency market sort of, you know, long term. So a lot of these coins are going to die off. They're not going to have the use value. So there's no point in having them around. So within my portfolio, I have a diverse portfolio. I normally hold sort of 25% Bitcoin, 25% Ethereum, 25% BSV. And then the rest is split into altcoins. So it'll be, you know, stuff like XRP, Litecoin, BCH, those sort of coins, depending on what I see in pattern and what's moving. I always hear the term altcoin season. So from the very bottom where Bitcoin was 3,200, Litecoin did over 200%. BCH did over 300%. it's like, you know, so when people say altcoin season, we've had it. We're in it. It's like it's happening. So you just need to know where to trade it and where to buy and where to sell. And yeah, it's there. The money is there. The money is in the market.
Okay. Interesting. Listen, Maggie, any last questions before we wrap up for today?
No,
Been a pleasure having these two.
You seem to have really good time, don't you, Lisa? We will too, then to get to know us. And me, sorry.
Yes.
He looks like Sean Connery, Lisa. He's got to be in your mood.
He does. It's awesome.
You've got that Scottish accent, Vincent. Get it just
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's two Sean Connerys. There's the James Bond Sean Connery, and there's the Sean Connery of latter years. And he was in a movie called Incredible Beast or something like that. It was like one of these multiple sci-fi characters, science fiction characters, not science fiction, fantasy characters, superheroes put together. And he was some big game hunter or something. And they were plodding through the snow, trying to reach some destination. And somebody said, "There are lights over there." And he said, "It's a village of peasants." You see, so as much as he's sexy when he says, "Sure, Miss Moneypenny," you know, he also said, "Sloshing," you know, sloshing his ashes in some village of peasants. So I don't know which Sean Connery you're saying I look like, but thank you very much. Yeah, not a bad-looking guy.
Just take it as a compliment, as what it was.
I do. Thank you.
Does he get the part, Lisa? Leave it up to you. Okay. Hey, listen. Thank you both so much, and Maggie, thank you for joining us today as well. Would love.
If I was any use.
Well, I thought we both listened well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been amazing. It's like I've really enjoyed talking to Vincent and hearing his views on the market. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd love to do it all again. And thank you so much for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Vincent. Bye,
Cheers
Lisa.
now.
Bye, Maggie. Nice to meet you.
Amazing to see you guys again.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll stay online and have a quick chat now, but thank you very much to the viewers and catch us back here soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.